from the BOD studios, plural, around Wisconsin and other locations in this country. It is Playin and Slayin, episode number 96. Welcome to the show. Here I am. I'm Ty with Troy, as always. And joining us from, oh my God! Look at that! King Lawler! It is Brice back in the ring.
What's up, guys?
Oh my goodness. Welcome, Brice. Episode 96. We've missed you.
Yeah.
Welcome back.
Dad. Yeah. Lots changed since the last time, huh?
You've gone from intern to power software exec, parent, gaming dad.
Yeah.
Still the same hobby mojo, though. And
still no lighting in the room that I am allocated to.
Well, it's good. It's good to see you and have you back.
Absolutely.
Now we'll see if you remembered everything about the show, because this is where I tell you all, when you're playing and slaying, it's important to stay hydrated. So, Brice, I'm going to start with you to see if you remembered after your hiatus what the assignment is.
Just That's kidding, Ty. we got a Beermosa slushy series from a local one up here. No, this one's actually from Badger State. So very, very good if you're into the kind of sour style beers. More sour than the Beermosa. I don't know why they call it a Beermosa. It's just like a orange sour kind of, but very good.
Delicious. Did you save that for like 14 months just for? Has that been in the back corner of the fridge, or was that a recent?
Been in the fridge since I saw you last. So
nice.
The 4-pack has lasted that long, and that was in August.
Excellent. And Troy, I'm sure you have something interesting.
I have I got to get it near the camera. Kiwina.
Wow.
Brewing Company.
Is she playing the guitar, or what is she
doing?
Black ale.
No, black ale. I got to open it. I've had one, so I know that's good. It's not like I'm just going it, but it is Widowmaker Black Ale from Kiwina Brewing Company in, I think, I'm old here. South Range, Michigan. Easy on the hops, easy on the palate, light-bodied ale with hints of smoky molasses and surprising depth of malt flavors. Then here's the good one. The Widowmaker, an early pneumatic drill without the benefit of dust suppression, introduced the copper country in the 1890s, contributed greatly to the mortality of miners due to prolonged dust inhalation. So
that doesn't all fit on the can.
I know, like that.
That's the whole story, the whole book.
History lens, and it is really, and it's good. It's black, and it's dark, but it's not. It's more, I would call it like an amber flavor. Again, maybe a little bit. So good flavor, but not really heavy, like any kind of a stout or something else like that. So yeah, my brother-in-law brought this down when he was here last. Left a couple of these and some other ones. So figured it would be a good one to save to pull out. So nice. There you go. Everything you wanted to know about the Widowmaker.
Yeah.
Pneumatic drill used for copper mining in Michigan.
I like how you prefaced it with you've had one before, so it wasn't it made me think of something. We should do an episode where we do a blind taste test.
Ooh, yeah.
Like mystery beer, where like we go out and assign, hey, I'm buying this for Brice, or buy this beer, and then Brice is like, buy this beer.
Oh, okay.
It's ones we've never had.
We get Total Wine, and you roll a D20 and you count the row, and then you roll a D10 and count the slot in that row.
There you go. A random number generated beer selection.
Yeah.
And then I re-roll if it's an IPA. That's all.
You got to use your episode inspiration.
inspiration to get
there you go.
Yeah.
If I pull up an IPA. Okay, got it.
All right. Well, 'tis the season for Oktoberfest, so I have a MC Hammerschlagen from Eagle Park. It is their Oktoberfest. I like Eagle Park. I like Oktoberfest. I bought a 6-pack when I was on my way to Madison a couple weekends ago, and this is the one lone soldier that got brought back. So,
do you guys ever choose your beer based on the can art?
I have.
Yeah,
I
just we all have fun looking cans, and that's like my number one thing. I don't even look at the type of beer I'm looking at. I pick the can and then I read the can to see if I can actually drink it, and then I'll buy it. But
yeah. No, I'll get attracted to the label. Like, this is a really cool label. I'd like to like this beer, and then I kind of read it, and I'm like, and it's an IPA, and I'm like, no, I won't like it. But every once in a while, I do see, I'm like, oh, it's a cool label, and it looks like it's a amber ale, or then I'm like, so marketing definitely works, right? Because there's something about having cool beers just be in your fridge, looking at you. So
definitely.
For more shows like this, check out the Goonhammer Media Network. More info at media.goonhammer.com.
Let's get into what might become the longest banter session ever as we catch up with Brice on a year plus of gaming hobby. I'm just kidding. We'll keep it recent. But it is a little lengthy. Somebody's been playing a ton of board games lately, and others have been doing a little bit of gaming as well. So let's do the thing that I'm most interested in hearing about, and that is, Brice, your trip to the Chicagoland area and your remote gaming group where you crashed a gaming night.
No, isn't that where he basically killed Raph, and that's why he's in his spot now? I think right?
I went and took my spot back, is what happened. Right. No, I had to go to Chicago to go to a convention for work, and I just took a chance because ironically, I'd listened to your guys' episode the day prior about just finding ways to play more games and just going out and taking the action, essentially. And I thought, hey, it's worth a chance. So I sent him a message, and he was like, we can do it whatever day you want. And it just worked out perfect, and got to hang out with the crew and play Captain Sonar. I think he's talked about that with you guys before. And it was just a really incredibly challenging game to play after a 4-hour drive and a 9-hour workday. Because it's very chaotic, and there's a lot of things going on, and everyone's like saying move right, move left, move this, and you have to say move the direction or it doesn't count. If you just say right, it's fake, and then you're trying to make sure you can shoot your missiles and drop your mines and do your sonar, and there's just so much going on, and I was like a zombie at that point. So I felt bad, but I was the captain, so all I had to do was move. Forgetting to actually say move right or move north or move south, and so I was getting yelled at a little bit for cheating, but it was unintentional cheating, so it's not bad.
Definitely,
you're a new captain. It counts.
Yeah. It was your first commission.
Yeah.
And then you guys played some additional games.
Yeah, I think you guys played it with him at the bar when you went down to visit. I forget the name of it, but you like throw the dice in the arena and try to get. If you don't roll any double, or if you roll doubles, you get to take them out, and if you don't, you can lose. I think I lost every time we played. I was the first person to lose. And they were like saying, "Oh, you have to hit the dice or the die for it to count." And then I would throw it, and I'd like hit it out of the thing. And I didn't have a very good showing. On game
Strike?
Night.
Is that called Strike? I think.
Yeah, I think that's what it's called. And then we closed it out by playing. I forget the name of it. It was a super popular card game in the NBA. Maybe still is, but Booyah, I think, is what it's called. Actually, it's basically a trick taker, and you play with a full deck. You deal out 5 cards. You can trade in 3, and it's a full table, and everyone goes in. if you go in and you don't take a single trick, you have to pay in the full pot. So we were playing with chips, so it wasn't real money, but if it was real money, it can get really crazy. And I started to kind of run the table on that. So I redeemed myself at the very end of the night with a trick taker that took very minimal thought, where I excel.
The card shark. Careful, Chauncey Billups is going to take you down in his fall.
Yeah, but it was great. It was so great. I'm terrible with names, as everyone knows, so I can't remember everyone's name that was there. But I was welcomed into a group of guys that get together every week, and they made me feel like I was part of it every week. And so that was really, really, really great. And I super appreciate him letting me kind of crash that and giving me something to make the long travel a little bit better.
Awesome. Yeah, the photo that was shared in Discord, I was very, very happy to see that. So
yeah. And that was like, well, aside from when you guys came up to play games, that was like the first time I played games since post dad life. So it was good to get some more time in.
It is game night is sacred, Brice. That's Ras first rule of Game Night Club.
Yep.
We should have t-shirts made with Raf's game night mantra. That could be our next BOD shirt order, is like Raf's rules of game night.
Yeah, I do need to get some merch going again soon. We're getting into the Adepticon pre whatever.
We are.
So,
well, Troy, should I just put everyone to sleep and then let you bring it home with the couple games you played?
Sure. I mean, yeah, and we'll ask you we won't let you just monologue. We'll interrupt you here. So,
I had to double check. Usually that's Troy's list. That's like 400 games long. But it was yours.
I've been a busy guy.
Ty's been like, he had 2 straight weekends of we'll call it holiday and gaming.
So 2 weeks ago, roughly, was GameholeCon in Madison, and what Gamehole has really become more for me is spend a lot of time playing games with like Barry and Matt and our friend John and others at the Airbnb. And if we go to the convention, we just go to the board game library and check out a game and play, and then check in on Elena periodically. This year was no different. So I went down to Madison Thursday after working most of the day of work. So I got in around 4:30, and played a few things. So that night we played Slay the Spire, which, Troy, I think you played at Adepticon when we purchased the game for the Geek Nation library that we sponsored. So I got that out, played that with Matt and John. We had a lot of fun. Kind of started to get the hang of it. We're like, yeah, this is they both had played the computer game and said it was a really, really good kind of like reskin of the mechanics of the computer game in card game fashion. So Slay the Spire got played. Then I'm going to try to do this in chronological order. The next day at the convention, we went to the Milcog board game library and we checked out a game called Art Society. Art Society is a bidding tile placement game. So you own an art gallery and you are bidding on paintings that are selected by the auctioneer, and you have bid cards 1 to 20, and you can use each one of those one time. And you bid on paintings, then who wins the bid gets to choose first and place it in their board. And there's placement rules about how you want to put matching frames next to one another to generate bonus points. And the painting that is left, so it's player count +1 for paintings that get selected. The one that's left behind goes to the museum, and then the price of that painting, the value, increases by whatever the points on the back of the painting are. So you're kind of managing the collection of your types of paintings: landscape, portraits, still life, and architecture. And then how many of a type you get is point multiplied by the most expensive painting at the end of the game in the museum down the line. So like as you're building, you're not sure what the value of your gallery is going to be. So you have to kind of game the system to try to increase prices of ones you have a lot of. Then there's like a sight line, a bar across your gallery where paintings are multiplied. So any painting that touches that, if it's the most expensive type of painting, increases. So there's some really cool kind of tile placement mechanics going on with this kind of blind auction bid. And at the end of the game, you have a board full of various paintings, and most of them, I think, are actual like paintings that have been modified in some way. So like Mona Lisa has like a mustache or something, and like some of the landscape paintings have little differences, but there is some like classical Renaissance art and other things. So you're actually putting together a gallery of these little cardboard paintings, and at the end it looks pretty cool. And then I looked for that to buy at Gamehole, but couldn't find it anywhere. So we'll come back to Art Society, but had fun with that one. Then another day I played Ra. I've always seen Ra. I've heard it is you are also bidding, but you are bidding for these kind of tiles that represent civilization, architecture, the gods, various Egyptian themed things. And then you're kind of putting them in rows and earning points. And then like a flood can come and destroy some of your river tiles, or like a famine can come and wipe out a number of your civilization tiles. And then your points are scored at the end of the game once all of the raw tiles have been drawn, because every time a raw tile is drawn, it creates this auction. So you get a set number of those as you play through. So you never quite know when game end is going to trigger, but you know as you start to get closer. And once you pass, you're kind of out. So you can kind of go hard early and get your stuff, but then the last players might get more tiles, and there's some cool mechanics. I wasn't a huge fan. I think some people really, really like Raw. I felt like the aesthetic, I was kind of like, there's something here, but it wasn't exactly like something I was a huge fan of. Then so that was a Milcog game. Then the day, I think it was Saturday, when kind of everybody was there, Josh played, Nathan and his wife played. We had like 7 people, and it was like, what games can we play that are not, one of the, help me out, Troy, the building civilization card game.
What Architects or whatever, it's right over there. Architect, 7 Wonders Architect,
7 Wonders, so we were looking for something non 7 Wonders, and somebody pulled this game off the shelf because one of the people at Milcog said, oh yeah, this one plays, and it was called Shadow Hunters. The art and graphic design was awful. The card language was terrible. The game was actually okay. It was basically roll a dice, move somewhere, and then attack, roll a dice, and you try to, it's hit and roll. And there's hunters, there's like demons, and there's neutral. And each character has like a, when revealed, this is your goal to survive, or do this to win. And you don't know who anyone is. We also said it would be perfect to reskin as K-pop demon hunters and like do good art. And you could make a ton of money from adapting this game using that IP. So if anyone's out there at Z-Man and you remember the title you released, what looked like in the 90s, but was probably in the early 2000s, Shadow Hunters, you should find what the license for K-pop is going for these days. And make a K-pop demon hunters game. Then another Milcog game was Endeavor Deep Sea. So this is going from like one of the worst games to one of the best games, I think.
I've heard really good things about this game. Yeah.
Endeavor Deep Sea was absolutely incredible. Heath, he runs New Game up in Oshkosh. But he is one of the Milcog guys. Taught us how to play, and Barry and Matt and I played Endeavor. It was a Kickstarter game. Endeavor was an age of exploration game originally that was kind of problematic with some of the themes and things in it. This was kind of modernized and changed to be like your deep sea exploration cruise. And we played the cooperative version, which was super fun, as you are moving your subs, sending your crew to do different tasks to like earn points and score. It was a skin of our teeth kind of victory on like one of the intermediate intro scenarios. The game was incredible, and we're like, how can we get a copy of this? And we looked into it. You can't. That's the answer. You actually cannot find this anywhere. There's an expansion with a Kickstarter, so I think there might be some more printing and shipping soon. But it is one of those games that is just not available out there unless you want to pay exorbitant prices on the secondhand market. But really, really good game.
No, it's good because I think I had seen there's some hype around it. I think I had stumbled on the Kickstarter, and I, like me, you know me, I'm kind of like, what? But I didn't really have any, I wasn't ready until I had some hands-on with the game, but I wasn't just going to go. So now it's interesting. It'd be interesting to see if we can get a hands on it at some point. Like I said, hopefully, again, I think they are reprinting it as part of their. But if it's as good as it is, it probably will be hard to find even in that. So,
yeah, really, really solid game though. Your actions, kind of, you're moving your own board, you're moving up in different skills. Those skills are also scoring you points, but they're controlling how many actions you get. So it's a lot of managing kind of action economy. And the art's really cool. The design, like how you dive deeper and how the cards, as you lay them out, they're kind of like board tiles that you then place your pieces on to like explore. Like Whale Fall is one of them, and it's kind of like this whale-like carcass, and you can survey and do diving actions. It's just really thematic, really, really strong designed game.
The last time you played a game with Danner and said you couldn't find it anywhere, we went to Adventure and it was there. So should I go tomorrow and see if it's there?
You should. You absolutely should. Yeah, Dwellings of Eldervale. That was If Adventure has Endeavor Deep Sea, I think it's Deep Sea. It might be Deep Sea Adventures or Deep Sea Exploration, but Endeavor. Buy it. If you see it, buy it.
I'll go look tomorrow.
Then at the Airbnb, another game we bought for the Geek Nation board game library, and I hadn't had a chance to play, is SETI. Matt and I played that with John. Matt and I loved it. John kind of lost interest. It's a heavy Euro, but really well designed and very deep, and lots of tracks to win. And Troy, the Euro is outdone by, I think, some of the actions and the cards, and like you're kind of building an engine too. So I might even be able to get you to play it.
The theme is kind of like, you could get me to try it probably at least once just for the theme. Yeah, right. Of the space stuff or whatever. So
and once you find the aliens, the game kind of twists once you find extraterrestrial life. So
it turns into War of the Worlds.
Let's see. Then Barry brought over the Lord of the Rings trick-taking game. I really can't think. It's like the Fellowship or something, it's a trick-taking Lord of the Rings game where the characters, each chapter as you play, you have different characters that you have to use, and they have different rules. Like, Mary and Peregrine may never win more than one trick, but they must, they can win like 0 or 1. Bilbo must win 3. Frodo must win at least 2 ring cards, and the rings are suits. So each chapter changes kind of the rules, and which character you are changes how many tricks that you have to take, and you're trying to all hit the right number of tricks to win the chapter to advance. And we played through like 8 or 9 of the chapters. I feel like there's probably close to 20 in the game. But it was really well done. I'd seen it I'm not a trick-taking fan generally. I said that going in. I said, okay, if I can read the chapter like stories and get into the narrative of Lord of the Rings, then I'll play this game. So that was the agreement. So I had to read the chapter, and each time to then play the trick-taking hands.
Right. So Ty, have it as Lord of the Rings, the Fellowship of the Ring trick-taking game. It's literally called
There we go.
Game.
I was close. I think I said all the words, just not in the right order. But yeah, so just a cool game. I enjoyed that. And then let's see, we played on the last night. I'd brought down The Fate of Middle-earth, or also known as Lord of the Rings Pandemic. So Matt Leacock's Pandemic rule system, reskinned Lord of the Rings. It is really good. If you were to play Pandemic and then play this game, you'd be like, oh yeah, there's some elements, I see it. But if you were to play this independently, you'd be like, this is an incredible game, just because of the action economy of Pandemic. But the characters and the factions of Mordor and the Shadow versus the Ring Bearer is really well developed and really strong. And how the Shadow like grows and where the troops move instead of disease spreading, along like those flight vectors.
Yeah.
There are these battle lines that the troops of Mordor will move along towards, like the central hubs, right? Like Rivendell and Minas Tirith, and like you have to try to clear away Sauron's troops and draw attention away from Frodo so that Frodo can get the ring into Mordor. Because if attention is on him, he has to roll these checks that reduce the hope, and when you run out of hope, the game ends. So it's the idea of keeping hope up to get the ring to Mount Doom and cast it in, along with all these other objectives. And there's a ton of hero that you randomly like draw 3 and keep 2, or randomly draw 2 each character. So like I was Galadriel, and then Merry and Pippin are like one card together. So I had this cool play where I took Merry and Pippin by themselves back to the Shire, and I started spending my tokens and economy to draw Nazgul away from Frodo so that he could make one last push in. And it came down to like a dice roll at the end for if you succeed, if Frodo can succeed. And we lost it on the very last dice roll, ran out of hope as Frodo failed to cast the ring into Mount Doom. It was probably Samwise's fault. But thematically awesome. Like really, really captures Lord of the Rings well. The game art and graphics are like, the design is awesome. So excited to get that one played again. I'll take a break. That was Gamehole.
What?
Whoa. That was a lot of games.
Hey, I think you missed one though. Isn't that where you spend all your money on True Dungeon every year?
Oh, never. Not this year. No how, no way. Never again. The only way I will ever do True Dungeon, Brice, is if we get you to Gen Con, and then I will do a True Dungeon run with you at Gen Con.
Yeah.
That's the only way I'll ever do it again.
Yeah.
Troy, before I go to my Wilmington trip where I got to play board games with my family and my brother, let's get your games played so people can hear a different voice.
Sure. So if you remember from last time, Eric and I have started, we've been playing Kill Team. We've been trying to get a monthly game in of something. In the last 2 months, we did Combat Patrol. So last month, I think I told the story of my armigers getting destroyed. Well, I shouldn't say it. The battle was about even. The points were not even at all. This month, I brought John's Orcs and Combat Patrol, and Eric had his Space Wolves again, and we played again, and it was much closer this time, and a lot of fun. And it's some of the they're like metal miniatures. So Brice, if you know, so these are like probably older than a lot of people. I've some of them, so it's fun. And I almost want to I need to go back, and I put that army together kind of quickly. It was fun to get it out. Now I'm like, I should really kind of maybe rebase them, and I don't know, everything, just to kind of have it. And their orcs but it's like a lot of nostalgia stuff because a lot of it's old John's old stuff and a couple of new models in there, but a lot of the centerpiece, the Killacan, is all metal. The thing weighs about a pound.
I was gonna say,
and then the big boss guy is also metal, and he's all whatever. So it was fun. Yeah, we just played kind of. I can't remember exactly which one of the combat missions scenario, but ended up the only thing it did is I kept his Terminators. Ended up he was going to deep strike them in, but they showed up late, and then he basically had to use them to sit on an objective to try and win the game, and which he did. But that's what kept me around, because I don't think I was going to mess with the Terminators anyway. But but it was kind of funny that I made his like biggest unit have to sit on an objective so that he could actually score points to win the game.
So wait, Eric, deep struck in Wolf Guard Terminators.
Yep.
And then in the most un-Space Wolf maneuver ever, sat on an objective.
He didn't sit. They had to like detour. Like they could have just come in and like wipe my guys. But the way I had kind of the points were working on.
Wait. He deep struck in his Wolf Guard Terminators that he's always talking about, space wolves and aggression and how fighty they are. And he then went away from combat to claim an objective.
He had to take a detour.
So
before he killed all my guys, he had to like get some points to make sure he won.
I don't know. I think I'm gonna have a discussion with Eric about embracing
about playing the narrative.
Space Wolves, he's got to play the narrative.
Yeah, he did. Well, he did. What did he? He did use a command reroll.
Did he howl once?
Oh yeah.
Okay,
it was good. So
okay,
but
did
it did
drink
come
mead out of a horn?
If mead is Coke Zero, yes.
Okay, all right. So you guys had a good combat patrol game.
Yeah, I am enjoying. I am
scared of orcs.
Enjoying it. Yep. No, they got. I mean, I got wiped off the. I think I had my
I don't
boss.
know, Brice. You see where I'm going with this, right?
Like, yeah. But you're talking 40K.
This isn't dual hill. Yeah, I know. I know. There's no dual hill in 40K.
No. Is combat patrol like the spearhead of 40K?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
But more than it's not a spearhead's more. I would say more gamey, right? Spearhead's super gamey, right? Combat patrol is like combat patrol is just 40K light. I'd say is better. Around that one's, but it's fun. I've been having fun. It's a good and I don't know when our next. I think we got one planned for a couple weeks again. Maybe we'll see if we're going to throw out the date and see if anybody else wants to join us on another table. But it's been a lot of fun to do that. I don't know what army I'm going to bring. I just keep picking different because it's a nice way to like pull something off I'm like, I think it's like, how many combat patrols can I build just off my shelf? So, and it creates some of that. Then the other thing we did, I think middle October or and I think it was almost right after we recorded the last episode. I talked about before, Sarah and I have been going down to Old Guard Games and playing D&D with the Dragon Sandbox group that just does kind of we'll call it whatever you want to call it, organized play for D&D. They do Dragonlings, they call, so kind of for kind of kids and adults who want to hang out with them. So I give the GM a lot of credit. I was telling Ty this, I think, because we were at one of our things. If you have a bunch of 12, 13, 14-year-old girls and some boys, and it was. I mean, in the end, we told the story. It was a lot of fun. But I don't know. Trying to keep that train on the track was pretty fun. I give the GM guy a lot of credit. But as I said, I'm like, everyone had fun, and if that's your measure, right? And I'm like, I'm good with it. And we had the one I don't know. I don't know. Maybe the one 14-year-old boy, who I don't know. He was really good at rolling dice. That's all I'll say. He made and he could tell he did it well because he could definitely had good sleight of hand to make sure that and he knew not to like nothing. Everything wasn't a 20, but he was very good at
17 plus.
I don't know. Every once in a while I think he also knew when he needed it and when he didn't.
Put a 4 in every now and then.
He did a good job. He was good and it wasn't like he was hiding it though. Like I think everyone knew, but no still didn't care. That was the fun point. But that was good. So that was fun. It's always Sarah just likes to play with other people. It's funny, like she'll kind of play with me, but she just gets super excited to go and play with strangers. And it has been, I think I talked about last time, it has been interesting how many girls there are. Like it's been very much almost tilted. Like the one time I played the first time, it was all girls at the table, including the GM, except for me. And this time it was the GM, like the boy, me, and the GM. Otherwise, the rest of the table was all girls and somebody's mom around that. So it's good. Yeah, hopefully she still seems excited, and I'm like, well, as long as she wants to go, we'll probably keep going every other month or something like that. And we'll see. Maybe we'll get her in a real game at some point, but we'll do that. So that's about it. I haven't played a whole lot of other board games or something else like that. We've been doing other stuff. So.
Well, yeah. So I will finish then part 2 of my games played. I went on a trip with my wife and son to visit my brother and his fiance down in Wilmington, North Carolina. They moved there in June, so it was our first time seeing them in a while. But as per usual, when I visit a new place, like to find a game store. So I had done my research and I found a game store that looked cool. So we went there with everybody and did some shopping. And so Cape Fear Games in Wilmington, North Carolina. Shout out if you are familiar with Wilmington's gaming scene, but this game store had a little bit of everything. And I want to talk about the layout. So their board game rows were kind of organized by like theme or type, like very well. So like there was a row that had like kind of movie IP that like Lord of the Rings and Star Wars, and then there was a row that was like 2-player, and there was a row that was like they had like shelves for like deduction or hidden roll, and like it was just very well organized. Then in the back they had a little play area and they had some disc golf. So they sell like disc golf stuff. They're next door to them, and I think they're connected through the back, is a little board game cafe called Sideboard, and they do events like every night. Like Tuesdays they have open RPGs, and Tom's like, that's a big hurdle for me to come over, but maybe I'll do that sometime. And they have board game nights. And but Cape Fear Games, I was really impressed with the store. The staff was friendly and like offered the help, because we came in looking kind of like family and then couple, like, and I think they were like, oh, maybe these people are just wandering in and they don't know what they're doing. And I'm like, I'm good. I know my way around. But I found Art Society there. So I bought Art Society, which I had played the weekend before at Gamehole. And then Jenna, so my brother's fiance, picked out the Final Girl starter in one of the expansions because Nicole had been like, hey, this is a lot of fun. And she's like, oh, check this out. And then Tom bought Roth, which Brice, we played, and I talked about after Josh and I had visited you. But I was like, Tom, this one's really cool. He's like, oh yeah, this looks awesome. So he picked up Roth. So we made our purchases, and then we did other stuff around Wilmington, but played a bunch of games. So we played Art Society a few times, both 3-player and 4-player. Then Tom and I played 2-player Roth head to head. He absolutely destroyed me. I was the dwarves, the Ruinin, and he was the Ugla, the like zombie horde guys.
Yeah.
And I could not like overcome the damage and the parasite like abilities. So he just destroyed me.
How was it with 2 people? How would you compare it to the 3-person experience?
I'd have to play it more to really like understand the matchups. I feel like it's probably a lot of rock, paper, scissors for how the factions like match up. It was extremely one-sided. Like not even close. He ran away with it. And I think 3-player you get reined in a little bit. Like, you get that gang up, like somebody looks like they're poised and the other two can kind of both attack them or adjust. Whereas this is like you can just counter, where they're going. It's a little bit more like a chess match, right?
We gotta get 4-player action on that game because it seems like that would be a blast.
I read through the co-op rules. They look really good too. Because then you have like an AI faction. But really, I mean, Roth, the graphic design's so good on that game, and the player mats and the game board looks really cool. Just a really good, solid game. Then Tom, I know, Troy, you have Call to Adventure. I feel like I may have played it one time with you a while back.
Yeah, maybe once,
but we played with Landon a couple times, and it was really fun. Kind of that game is cool. You're writing the origin story through card play for like a hero. And you can kind of go dark or light. You can become the champion of light, or you can give in to these kind of dark fate like choices you make. So played that a couple times over the weekend. Enjoyed it. We didn't try the Name of the Wind one. We just played the base game. And I think there's a few other expansions now. And then, I did the thing that can end relationships. I suggested we play Settlers of Catan, and we played, and it got a little punchy. Nicole, Landon, myself, and Tom played, and that game can get a little contentious as somebody's running away with it, and I was not being helpful and offering trades to everyone. And then I was vindictive when somebody would refuse a trade. I would go after them. So I did the thing that you do when you play Catan. Probably upset my wife and my son. Tom knew what to expect. He knew what he was getting into playing Catan with me. But then Landon had fun, and he's like, "Can we play Catan again?" So then we played another time, and he's like, "Are there games like this that have bigger maps?" And I was like, "Oh, yes, there are." So finding a game he enjoyed, and then now I'm starting to think, well, maybe this is where I introduce him to like Access and Allies, or something else. So that was like family game nights, and then last night there, Tom and I had a few beverages, and when everyone went to bed, decided we were going to play some board games. So we busted out a game called Foodies. Now, Foodies was a BodCon 2024 swag bag game that Josh had included for everyone to take home, and it was Tom's take-home game from BodCon. I'm not sure where Josh sourced these from, other than a dollar bin at Miniature Market. This game had no business being sold for any price point ever. And it in seeing this game makes me now understand how CMON is in the financial crisis that they are in. Because if they're not kickstarting and exploiting people for money to pay for the production of the games, evidently they're not purchasing good games or producing quality games, because this game was just so bad. Like, you would buy a food stall for your mall food court. When you bought the food stall, you'd put it in a number 1 through 9, and that was your layout. Then you'd roll a D10, and everyone would collect whatever was on the number rolled. And if you spent an advertising token, a flyer, you could move that one direction to get a different reward. But every turn you're earning income. There's no way you don't earn income. And every turn you're purchasing something that's between $6 and $2. So you can always purchase something. So there's no it's just roll a D10, collect, buy, roll a D10, collect, buy. Who gets the D10 roll they need, right? first, and I'm like, Tom's like, yeah, this is really bad. Like, there's just nothing to it. So he texted Josh and showed him that we were playing Foodies, the BuyCon game, and had a laugh. But it like Josh, if you listen, I hope you didn't pay more than like 50 cents for this game, because yeah, I'll leave it at that. Might be the worst game I played this year. Or in the last several years.
Just remember that. Yeah.
Yeah, free isn't always good though. Like,
I'm just saying, yeah.
Sometimes you want to play on a game so you can be like buyer beware, stay away. But yeah, so we played Foodies. Then we decided it wasn't time for bed yet, as it was after midnight. So let's take Sky Team out. Now, we'd been for a few hours drinking. The bottle of Regulator bourbon from Wilmington Distillery was gone. The bottle of Izzy's, IZZYZ, spiced rum that had like cardamom. It was almost like chai, like seasoned spiced rum. Super good, was tapped into. So we landed our first plane at London Heathrow without incident. Great. Like, we're solid. Then we started to do narrative Sky Team as we were landing in Hanada, Japan. Tom was the captain, and he kept talking about visiting Granada and how great the weather was in Granada. And I kept telling him, Captain, we're in Hanada, not Granada, and we have a really hard left turn here that we have to make. It might not have been coffee in the mugs. You know, you can place coffee to adjust the dice rolls in Sky Team. But the captain kept talking about Granada. I don't think he knew where we were. Our final approach, we were tilted. We couldn't straighten out, and we crashed at the very last move, landing in Hanada, Japan, not Granada. But that Sky Team game was brought to you by Wilmington Distillery, which was a little cool red block off the Riverwalk distillery we wandered into on Friday night. We gone down to the Riverwalk along the Cape Fear River, and found it. And you can only buy booze. You can buy beer in grocery stores there, but you can only buy booze from the ABC, the government-run liquor stores, and they close at 7:00. So the only other place you can buy liquor is direct from a distillery. If a distillery produces it, they can sell bottles. So it was like 7:30 at night, so we're able to buy a couple bottles of booze at the Wilmington Distillery and then bring it home. So had their bourbon, which was really tasty. And Tom's like, yeah, this is a good spot. I'm going to come back here rather than going to the ABC store. Just go right to the small business and pick it up. So that was Wilmington. Had some really good food there too, and saw some scenes where, you know, various like Waterfront on Netflix and Dawson's Creek and Eastbound and Down. All sorts of shows have been filmed in that area. So there's a lot to see, and went out to the Wrightsville Beach and like got on the pier and had some really good seafood. So it was a great trip. Got to play a lot of games, spend some time with my brother and Jenna and their dog. So we enjoyed our time.
Awesome. And when are you publishing the expansion for the narrative Sky Team?
It'll be a fiasco playset where you're a plane crew.
Yeah.
And your captain's been drinking on a flight across the Pacific, thinking he's in the Caribbean. Man. But yeah, so there, Troy, you have everything.
You're just doing product placement tonight.
Yep.
You're just calling stuff on my shelf right behind me.
Next thing you know, I'm going to say Wrath of Arshardalon, and you're going to pull out the D&D board game that you never got rid of.
I did get rid of that one. I do have Legend of Drizzt though. Still, I haven't got rid of that one. That's the only one out of the 3 I kept. So.
I think Drizzt might be the character that has the most books that he is featured in all like fantasy. I don't think any other author has produced that many books about a single character as Salvatore has about Drizzt.
Because they're like 50. I don't even.
It's something crazy.
It might even be close. Yeah, it might even be. I
want to say it's like 43.
Yeah,
it's insane. Yeah. All right, that was. And now I'm going to change gears. Hobby, and my hobby is going to be really, really brief, and then I'll let you guys take over. So friend of the show, friend of ours via the internet and Adepticon, Josh, Arizona Josh, had messaged in Discord, "Hey, gonna be trying the hobby Thursday night or whatever night." I was like, "Oh yeah, I'll do it." So I hopped on with him, and Josh and I just caught up and chat and talked about the state of the world. And I glued together some metal miniatures as he was painting. One of his 40K projects, working on that. Just kind of talked about, we don't hobby that much, but what it made me realize is I think it's something I want to just do a monthly hobby hangout, like not going to try to do a weekly, but just post it in the Discord. And if it's just Josh and I hanging out, cool, but make it more of an event, and try to get people going, not forced for like Adepticon like the week before where everybody's online anyway, but just a chance to hang out and socialize, and work on whatever. So that was my hobby, was gluing together like 10 metal minis for Relic Blade. So I put together some of my Relic Blade dudes. Now I need to prime them this weekend and then paint them. Brice, hobbying.
Yeah.
Here Brice adventures with metal miniatures.
Yeah, it was like my first. Well, I think my second experience, but the first one I don't count because it was. I think they're called Slayers, Dwarf Slayers, where they're just one chunk of metal. There was nothing to put together. So I also was working on some Relic Blade, and I wanted to do some fun bases. So they got some like trees, and they're primed, and the bases are painted. And I'll give you guys credit because again, it was your gaming more episode, keeping the dice rolling, but it also kind of inspired me to like stop just sitting on the couch so much and starting to come into this dungeon downstairs and just try to do things that make me happy. And through that, it's like reminiscing on all the good times and realizing how much I like love doing this. So I've tried to, at least it's not realistic to do it every day for me anymore, but at least a couple times a week, I try to come down and work on stuff. So I sent Ty a message right after that and said, "Hey, we're doing whether it's bi-monthly or monthly campaign of some sort." And we've been kind of brainstorming on what that is. If it's believe it or not, a 40K kill team campaign or a Relic Blade. We might pivot since we both have Relic Blade on the table and do that, but just something to keep us accountable to not like complete a project, but more so do something that we love to do and just stop doing the other nonsense that takes up time. And I think it was like this epiphany moment for me to stop just making excuses to sit on the couch and watch TV and just, when Annie goes to bed, I come downstairs for 30, 40 minutes and do some painting, and it helps a lot. I think I joked in the beginning, but the new job has been so mentally draining in like a really good way because it's a new opportunity, but to just come and reset has been huge for me. So I'm gonna try to keep it going. I have a table full of crap over here that needs to be painted, so we'll see how it goes.
Wonderful. Love having the zest back in Brice.
No, yeah. I love the excitement. I can't believe both of you guys have regressed to metal. Like, I have Relic Blade. Oh, sorry, I got to point the right way. Oh, I got to point the right way.
You got some?
Wait, well, Relic Blade. I have the rule book right there. Well, wait, over there behind me. Oh, now you see it. There you go. If I turn, everything's backwards when you're on the camera. I have, but I can't. I don't think I can bring myself to. Like, I play with John's old metal ones, but those are already, he assembled them and they're put together. And like, I don't know if I could do it. Like, I think if I'm going to play Relic Blade, I'm going to proxy, and I'm either going to 3D print or just proxy out of the 4 billion old Bones miniatures that I have in a box over there.
Yeah.
To do it. So, because I give you guys a lot of credit to go back, because I don't know. I have nightmares.
Yeah. I think I remember the one piece of advice that Heath gave me back in the day was to seal in between like stages. So prime and seal, and then like base coat and seal. And I haven't done that yet, and I can tell on some of them that the paint is kind of scratching off, so I'm going to seal them soon. But other than that, it's not really been bad. I mean, at the end of the day, it's only 3 or 5 models that you're painting, so it's,
Well, it's not the painting; it's the assembly that is a nightmare. Like depending how good they're cast is always
they're really not bad. It's like you've got most body and legs together, and then you have an arm or a head or a weapon, but they're not a ton of pieces. There's one faction which you need to do some pinning because they have these huge claws and like crab-like appendages. But the rest are, if not one piece, they might be 2 or 3.
This guy was a pin required because his top half is just like a solid brick of metal, and it attaches right at his waist. So I had to pin it down in. So it was not only my first time pinning a metal model, but just pinning a model in general. So that was an experience. And then I couldn't get the glue to dry, and I was like spitting on it because Raph told me liquid would help. I didn't have any water down here, and so
you don't have accelerant?
No, I used to years ago, but it's gone now, or it's in one of these boxes over here that so I'm just working with what can fit on this table, and if it's not on the table, I'm not going to go dig for it. So,
all right. Well, we'll see. If I ever do, I'll make John assemble. If I ever just get metal miniatures that I need, I'll make John put them together. It's kind of his superpower. So,
well, for a Relic Blade Weekender, Troy, you're going to have to. So,
yeah. Well, now, like I said, I'm proxying. I'm gonna find some, or I'll 3D print some. So,
I won't tell Sean that if I can get him on the show.
Well, I'll give him money. I bought his rule book. I'll give
money, but I won't use the models.
Right. I'm like, I'll just buy them and give them. I'll buy models to give away to people. How's that? Like,
Troy's going to commission somebody on Fiverr to assemble his metal miniatures.
Yeah.
Hobby Fiverr.
John. I just do John. He's my guy I have assembled all the time. So he did all my MCP, like whatever. They're still over there. All whatever. There's probably 50 MCP models that he put together.
All right.
Colossus is painted. Is that the only one that's painted?
Yeah, it's the only one that's painted. Yeah, it's good. Yeah. But I keep buying them, and then I give them to John to assemble, and he brings them back. So they're like, I have them all assembled, sitting over there waiting.
I've had Beast like partially painted for like a year.
Nice.
Oh.
I can't bring myself to finish him, but I got like most of his fur done.
Troy, what have you been hobbying?
I have been doing very little because, like I said, I pulled John's army out for that. I did do, and I have a picture down at the bottom of the notes if you guys see. She's tiny. I did a painting class. Small. Yeah, I did a painting class at Dragonfall with Lila. What's her last name? Lila Mev, the Mini Witch on YouTube. She's from the Midwest area, from northern or middle Illinois, and they were there. And so I always like to do a class at Dragonfall because we usually don't play whatever. And she did a kind of a speed paint plus kind of class, just some techniques that you can use to kind of use kind of speed paints with kind of kind of slap chop plus kind of things like that. It was fun. Yeah, I mean, it was a tiny model, and then you always go to the class, and I always like, I'm gonna prep and whatever, and I didn't have either, because I always paint under a good light and a magnifying glass. So not having either of those when you go to a class, I'm always like, and I always think about it. I'm like, I should make sure I sat in the room and not under the light, not thinking about it, and then I didn't have and then I had to pull out my phone to like, all right, what's it? But came out decent. I guess so. It gives her a lot of credit for being able to, basically I couldn't see, but being able to paint pretty good. So
you gotta get yourself one of those headlamp things with like the lights over the glasses.
Right. Well, I think I had thrown, I actually had, because I have like one of those magnifying goggle things or whatever, and I had thrown it in my bag, but I ended up not. It was like in the hotel. I didn't actually bring it with me or whatever. Yeah, so I don't know, but so it turned out pretty good. I thought it turned out, it was fun. just kind of Brice, that's why we use you for, because both Ty and I are kind of color challenged. It's nice when you have somebody who gives you like the recipe, like here, so it's when she's going like, here's the green we're going to use, and here's the, and even then, I think I used a different color for the skin than what she was using. But she's like, oh, that's a creative choice, right? I don't know, that's a nice, right?
That's the cover up for why is your skin tone brown on the tree lady when it should be green?
Yeah, right. And kind of, so she,
why are your leaves brown and your trunk is green, Troy?
Yeah, right. Why do you like? And I'm like, well, because you just put the dots of color on my palette, and then I forgot what order you put them in, what names you gave them, right? Like around that. But it was kind of fun. So that was good. And then the other, I won't call it, was it Maxi Hobby, is Sarah bought, we were at Dragon Days, which I'll talk about, is she bought some wooden daggers, size wooden daggers that were just unpainted because they were cheaper. I'm like, we're not going to pay an extra double for painted ones. We can paint them at home, and we did that, and it was a fun daughter-dad hobby activity to paint up her daggers, which she thought were pretty fun. So now she's trying to slowly build her cosplay costume. So we'll see.
Excellent.
So that's about it. Yeah, I haven't done too much. I did show people at work Citadel paints. That's about it. I can't remember how it came up, but
were you like, this is like color the fifth or sixth best paint?
This is the worst paint option I could recommend to you. Is that?
No, I wasn't that. No, it was about colors. It was literally we were talking about, because we were doing like computer color stuff.
And ultramarine blue showed up.
Yeah, or something like that.
Rhinoc Tide and
so we were like, kind of like, here's some colors.
Troy's like, just do the lead belcher highlighted cells on this sheet, and then I'll fill in the McCraig blue.
Yep. But that's about it for my hobby.
Brice, I did buy the I don't know when I bought these, but the Pro Acryl.
I thought you were going to say the new, how am I blanking, Blood Bowl box.
No, I should. I want to. I definitely wanted to. But it's probably sold out, knowing how Games Workshop handles new releases. If you didn't pre-order, you can't buy something. So,
did you get the primers, or what did you get? Sorry, I just ruined your whole thing.
I can't find it. It's some of the primer. I'm gonna try out.
I saw those and I was so tempted by them. There was 4 new colors.
Yeah. Anytime they release something, I'm like, I'm gonna buy it.
Every single time.
That's my approach now. Like, they could be like, here is a Pro Acryl paint cup. Your paint brush gets cleaner in our cup, and I'd be like, I'm in.
Them and red grass. It's like I instantly acquire those things, no matter what they are. Even the light that I've used like 2 times in my whole life, it cost me way too much money. It's like, I need it. This makes me a better painter, even though I don't use it. So
absolutely, it's like I had a roommate in college who would wear all Adidas stuff, even like an Adidas finger sleeve, for like the one time every 3 months that we would go play basketball at like the athletic facility, and it made him a better hooper.
It's incredible.
Yeah.
Ty, you didn't give me enough like my Pro Acryl primers out of I can't reach it. I thought it might have been on the desk, but it's over there. And it's not the new one. I have like the whatever it is, the black brown and the whatever, a gray one. I think that I know they did some new colors.
I'm the only one with one.
There you go.
Reach.
There you go. You got the white at least.
And we got a dark neutral gray, and we got black brown.
Yep.
There we go. Black brown. That's what I got. Yeah.
They have like a beige color or a maroon color one now, and a blue and a green, and it's pretty cool.
Yep. And that was, I mean, if I'll go back to my class, like interesting, like things that she talked about was actually, I think, we didn't use like a black undercoat. We used a color undercoat, complementary colors to kind of enhance the speed paint and kind of things like that. So that, again, that's like a good use for some of these other color primers and things like that, which are pretty cool.
Yeah.
All right. Well, let's, after hobby, move into crowdfunding. So Kickstarter, I'm never getting the games that I have kickstarted. I'm never getting Forsaken by Game Trays, which might have been a game found. I don't think that exists anymore. I'm not getting the Dead Keep from Simon. I don't think that will exist. I don't think there'll be a company by the time that would hit their production cycle in 2034.
Do you think that I'm going to get the Song of Fire and Ice skirmish game from Simon? Will that make the cut or no?
I don't think so. I don't think anything is shipping. Again.
It's probably for the best, because then I don't have to explain a box this big with just a dragon in it to my family. So that's probably for the best.
Yeah, I think that's what we call a drop in the bucket loss. We're not seeing anything from Simon. So that's my crowdfunding update.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Again, we can speculate a bunch, right? I think you're right. Ty, will be interesting. I think officially, right, they continue to shed IPs to generate cash to stay not bankrupt, I guess, or whatever I don't know what version of bankruptcy they're in. And they keep saying they're trying, but nobody believes them, like you guys. So again, it'll be, I think, month to month we'll get the update until they finally dry up completely. But
so do you guys remember the episode of The Office where Michael Scott learns about bankruptcy?
Yeah.
And Steve Carell just goes, "I declare bankruptcy." They're like, "Michael, you can't just yell. You declare bankruptcy." That's Simon right now. Simon is standing there, and the owner is yelling, "I declare bankruptcy," as their production facility grinds to a halt. And they shed more and more of their IP.
Yeah, I don't know how many IPs they have left, right? Because I think Zombicide's gone. I can't remember what the one was that I saw the news article that they got rid of that for the next injection of cash to pay. I don't know who they're paying. Maybe the C-level people, but I don't know.
So yeah, you guys finding anything cool on any kickstarting crowdfunding?
I am not kickstarting. I'm basically not kickstarting games anymore. Maybe that's lesson I've learned. I shouldn't say that because I probably have. So I've been just doing 3D prints, which I don't put on here because those are pretty low risk, because usually they're already done by the time the people are actually putting them out for you to, and you get them in like the next week, like half the time. Like they're like, "Oh yeah, we're almost done," and they deliver within a couple weeks usually, and it's only the stretch goal stuff that usually goes on. But
I think we have to pause really quick, because you saying you're done backing games is like groundbreaking news, and we're just going to let that roll through. Sure, you guys talked about your Gen Con badge and how you're going to be like first in line in the next couple of years. You're probably like first in line on the Kickstarter backing too. I learned about Kickstarter because of you.
I might be lying and until I see something, but I have between, again, I think I have Dead Keep that's dead. I think there have been a couple. There's another race game that we saw at Gen Con a couple years ago. That's just been interesting. Some of it's just interesting to listen to the drama of these things and why they won't ever, like one, it was a game done by a guy, and then I don't know, somehow, life happens. We'll give him a little bit of benefit of the doubt, but it sounded like he just he lost control. Maybe he didn't have the control he wanted, and he sounded like he's like, "Oh, I'm just going to walk away from it." But then a company bought it, and they're trying to fulfill it. I don't know. It's a fun soap opera for some of these. So there's a couple of those, but I don't know. I think I'm just a little more gun shy unless I see something really, really cool. Like maybe it'll be the next, although I don't know, the next Nemesis game. Maybe that'll be but I don't know. Awaken Realms hasn't like completely turned me off yet, so maybe they'll do something. But yeah, I don't know. I don't have a lot of games in the pipe for that. But what I did back was like some fun ones. So there was, and I think it might be ending by the time this gets out, but in Lake Geneva, there was a Kickstarter for a Gary Gygax statue in downtown Lake Geneva. It's actually a game table around some of that, which was kind of funny. I threw a couple bucks at it because I didn't think it was going to make it. I'm like, is this really gonna get out? But it was interesting. I think it actually is going to fund. Whether it actually ever gets built will be another thing. So, because it seems a little, I don't know, seems like a lot of hurdle, and I don't know if they actually raise enough money to do what they think they're going to be able to do. So, that was kind of funny. And then the other one is Evil Hat. Designers Dragons. That's been a series of books kind of detailing a lot of history of D&D and other RPG games and things like that. Pretty cool. And they're doing like an origin ones that kind of really goes through all the old D&D modules, expansions and stuff from kind of in depth on each one of them. The author's pretty good, and they actually had a lot of really cool preview on some of that. So that's just a lot of nostalgia for me because I grew up basically with all those things. So again, not a hard. Basically, she has most of it written because they actually gave you a preview of most of it. So I don't think there's a huge risk in that one getting out. And Evil Hat does. They're a decent company too. So it was fun to support that. So that's, again, and that one's just nostalgia for me more than anything else. So
the Brice line here is intriguing. I'm interested in what this is.
I think I sent it in the Discord. Dungeon Crawler Carl has a graphic novel that's out. I think it's, again, I think it ends tomorrow. And I had it in my cart, like, oh, I'm going to do the big box because it's only $95 or something. And then I stopped and it's like, why do I need a postcard and a coin and like this stuff? So I just closed it and said, if I go back and get it, I'll just get the book. And I haven't gone back yet, but I think I will just because it's fun. And I think the book it's like $30 to get just the hardcover graphic novel.
Yeah.
But I was curious to see if any really, I think it's probably Josh who would have backed it, and he's not here to tell us if he did or not. So,
yeah,
I've been a good boy though. I've not backed anything since the last 87-pound box that arrived on my doorstep. So
I'm trying really hard to remove like the motivation to purchase that FOMO would like give me. Like I'm making a conscious effort to not be driven by, oh, if I don't buy this, I can't buy it. Like Kickstarter exclusive stuff. Like maybe I'm maturing. Maybe that's what this is. But I don't need more stuff. I need good stuff. I need quality time. I don't need more stuff.
It would be an interesting exercise to compile the list of all the games that the four of us have backed and never played, and how much money that was.
We just couldn't publish it because our spouses would probably
right. Yeah. Wait, it could be used in like court cases or something.
Yeah, would file claims against us. All right. Moving from crowdfunding, Troy, I did have one thing. I know. I think we're gonna, in the main topic, kind of talk about your experiences at a few. You kind of mentioned in hobby and in gaming, Dragon Days and Dragonfall, and then Gamehole. We were both at with some more kind of con recap coverage. But I did. So go figure. I started another D&D campaign. So I'd been playing with Tom and Jenna and Elena and Matt, and we were kind of doing like Jenna's first campaign. Well, Jenna's starting her residency. Her schedule's nuts. She just can't play. Like working 6 days a week and long days and super early mornings isn't conducive to trying to play D&D at night. So Tom and Matt and I were like, we should just do like a mini 3-player campaign. So we did. So Danner and I, when we were in high school, played in a Rod of Seven Parts campaign that our friend who passed away would run, and it was always super fun. Like, we loved the Rod of Seven Parts. And then I was like, well, I've got this high level Vecna book. I haven't really read it. I don't know what's in it. And then I open it and I'm flipping through it. I'm like, it's a Rod of Seven Parts adventure. And I was like, no way. So they created level 10 characters, Matt, Elena, and Tom. I wrote a whole kind of intro adventure to get them into the campaign book. And I don't know if they know. I didn't really tell them that this wasn't like part of the published book, but I like wrote it to give them like an adventuring party background and a character that they used to adventure with, who they're at his funeral in Neverwinter, and they receive a letter from the fifth member of this party that had split. There was like a fraction a couple of years ago over a powerful relic, and the paladin wanted to take and destroy it, and the roguish kind of like lore bard, maybe rogue, wanted to take it and see if they could use it, and it fractured their group. So I like had the funeral, I had the priest read the eulogy, and that's how I started, because I stole from Critical Role campaign 4 intro that starts with like a funeral, like a wake, right? And I was like, well, an actual funeral, I like that. So that's where I started the campaign, was at the funeral of their former adventuring partner. And the fifth one isn't there. And then I've got this through line of like Vecna and the mythology of like the missing eye and the hand. So anyways, we're doing Vecna Eye of Ruin in a small kind of 3-person level 10 party. And it's kind of fun because usually most campaigns we get to about level 10 or 11, and that's where you end. This one's starting at level 10 and ramping up. So we're all pretty excited to do some high level D&D, because we haven't done that in a very long time. So, but yeah, we're enjoying it. Should be good. We've had a couple weeks with travel and other things where we're off, but next weekend, hopefully we're making it like our Sunday night game. So
should be good. Should be fun. And with the lower player count at the high level, you guys should hopefully, right? It's kind of that balance, right? Because when you get to higher levels, combats become a little more complex. So having less people, you should be able to kind of rail it in and have them still have a decent, be able to, not where they don't go too long.
And if there's 2 players that I trust implicitly for like high level rules heavy mechanics, it's Matt and Tom. No offense to like anyone else that I've ever played with, but they are kind of like the rules mechanical like engineers. And then Elena is playing just a crazy character. She is a level 5 barbarian, level 5 wild magic sorcerer,
Nice.
Earth Genasi. So like just bizarre, wild shit going on. Matt is doing what did he do? A ranger with throwing weapons. So he's like full Dragonborn ranger. And Tom is a gnomish paladin of Garo Glittergold, the gnomish like patron deity, and Oath of Devotion paladin. So it's just this kind of wild party. So should be enjoyable. Any other items of geekery purchases? Or should we move into the library? Shh. We're going to the library.
Oh, wait. Oh, there we go. I have the and I haven't even opened it. You can tell, like, they just couldn't read it because if you're on YouTube, there's too much glare. Because I haven't taken out is the new Heroes of Borderlands D&D starter set I picked up at Gamehole. Most again nostalgia, because I don't know. We all played Keep on the Borderlands B2, B3, whatever I should know. You didn't play it in the original D&D set
before my time.
What? Oh, so I am just
I started playing D&D in like 94, 95.
So Keep on the Borderlands, the original in the module is in the thing. So I'm just kind of curious to see how they've I've heard decent things about this box. So it's going to be like Sarah and I are probably going to do an opening and just kind of mess around
have fun with
and see what that. Yeah. And it was, again, I bought it at Gamehole. I felt good buying it at Gamehole from a actual gamer guy with the store rather than from some big box. So
very cool.
Oh, and I have for our callback. So for our total wine roll a D20.
Oh,
I
there
did
you go.
buy a giant D20 with kind of a cool center. If people can see it, purple. I don't know what Brice. What color are these?
Yep, you got it. Purple and light
Okay,
blue.
that's only because Sarah
The
told me.
numbers are light blue.
Yeah, thankfully I brought Sarah with me to Gamehole so she could I could ask her what colors were on things. So I have the D20 that we can roll down the aisle at Total Wine to pick our beers. So
I'm in. I love it. That's how we're shopping for the next weekender. We're at D20 rolling at the liquor store. All right, let's get into the library. Reading, listening, watching. So Brice, I'm not going to ask what you've been reading over the last 15 months or listening to, but I do want to know, what are some recent library choices for you?
Yeah, I'm all caught up on all the lit RPGs that I listened to over the years. I have to call back to Raph when I don't remember the first time that he was on, so before Gen Con, and he said, "Oh, I'm on book 4 of He Who Fights with Monsters." I'm like, almost done, I think. And I just finished book 14, so you're not almost done. So book 14, 13 or 14, I don't know. It doesn't really matter. The most recent one, and then book 15 of another one, and book 12 of another one. And then there's no new ones out, so I was like at a loss. I didn't know. It's the first time in the last 2 years probably that I've been caught up. And you had just finished Devils, and I was like, okay, I'll give it a shot, because you guys always talk about Abercrombie, and I never know which book to start with, so I always get overwhelmed and then don't start. But since this was something new, I felt like I could jump in, and I really liked the start of it. But it was on my way down to Chicago, and I was getting too distracted, and I wanted to listen and enjoy it. So I turned it off and turned on Critical Role Campaign 4. And holy smokes, how many people are part of it? 15? Yeah. It's unbelievable. I haven't listened to Critical Role since the second season. So it's Laura, Travis, Sam, Liam, and those are the core of it, and Ashley here and there. So to have however many people there are now, it's overwhelming. And one of them sounds kind of like Mauritius, so I never really know who's talking. And so it's going to take a little while to settle in. But it's been enjoyable. It's been interesting to have Mercer as a character and not as the GM. And it's fun and nice to jump back into that. And that's really it.
Brennan Lee Mulligan is phenomenal. When he I nearly got chills listening to the first 15 minutes of episode 1, where it's just Liam at the table at that point. You don't see anyone else, and he is talking, and he's like, and you are going to see someone you love die. And it's the opening scene.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, this is going to be good.
Yeah.
I got Nicole to watch it. I was like, just watch from the storytelling aspect. Don't worry when they start rolling dice, whatever. And she's like, this is really good. I'm going to try to watch more. I'm like, all right.
It's just such a commitment. It's crazy. Yeah. Think about the amount of time I have to put in to keep up with it. And it's hard to skip. I'm very much a completionist, so I'll have to listen to each episode, and then I'll fall off, and then I'll forget where I was, and I'll stop listening inevitably. But it's crazy how long it is. I mean, it's my whole work commute every week to just stay current. So we'll see how it goes. But really good start, like you said, enjoyable. And interesting. It's got to be intimidating, right, to go into that and be like, I got to fill Mercer's shoes, and I think it's probably intimidating, but he's done a really good job.
Right.
All right, Troy, what's been consumed?
Barely. So I knew when I was diving in, when I opened a Malazan book, it's like a 2-month commitment, and I'm getting close to wrapping up book 6, Bone Hunters. I'm getting just to I think I'm in the last 6 to 7 hours. So, I'm really interested to see where this is going to go at the end. And it's kind of cool. I won't go but book 5 is pretty much a standalone story, but now there are some callbacks here in 6, which will be interesting to to do some of that. I'm so loving it. I think I know, Ty, you're ahead of me in that, but I'm just like, even though I've been in this world now for this book for almost 2 months, kind of on and off. I just, every time I turn it on, I kind of do a chapter and I'm like, oh, this is, and and now the characters are so, book 6, you have all these characters that you've now known for the last however many 5,000 pages. Right. And some of that, and a lot of history and a lot of stuff. It's amazing what he did with this world, and how and where I'm barely halfway, right? Kind of not even to of the first 10 books. And then it even keeps going after that. So, so really enjoying that. I did watch a couple, we won't count Lilo and Stitch as a watch, but I did watch that. That was it. I don't know if you guys, the Marvel Zombies series is pretty.
Is it worth it?
I'm only like an episode or 2 in, but I'm like, this is pretty cool. Like, because it is kind of a what if, right? Kind of, but what they've done with those characters and again, they can do some funny things with mixing up kind of the normal characters. Really, I really liked the first 2, and again, I need to kind of work. I think I don't know if there's 4 or 5 in that series. It's just kind of a mini series of the Marvel Zombies, which is pretty cool. So pretty dark too.
Is that a Disney
Plus? Yeah.
Yeah, I won't be able to watch. I am one of the millions that canceled Disney Plus, so I'm not giving Disney my money anymore. So I'll have to miss out on Marvel.
I'll tell you about
Zombies. It. Yeah. Send me the
They'll
bootleg.
let you buy it. They'll let you
copy.
buy it at some point or something. Yeah, or a copy somewhere.
All right. Malazan book 6, Troy. I finished Malazan book 9. Dust of Dreams. 44 and a half hours. The first 38, I was like, maybe I'm just losing interest. I really struggled for most of book 9, Dust of Dreams. And I knew what they were heading towards. And I'm like, just get there. Get there. Because you see, like, it's armies on the march. Like, why armies are on the march, I won't spoil. But it's armies, like, the whole book is like people going somewhere and people traveling and armies traveling. And I was like, wow, this is getting to be a little bit much. And then it hit in classic, like Steven Erikson does, everything has a reason, everything has a place, everything has a time. And when the time hits, it was like, wow, this is really good. Okay, I'm glad. And I zipped through the last part of the book. But I'm going to wait a little bit, probably a month or 2, and start book 10. I think the final book. Maybe over the week or 2 that I have off around Christmas, just to get some significant listening in. But I did finish that on Audible. I'm making my way 3 or 4 pages at a time through your time book, The Order of Time by the Italian guy that I can't think of his name. It is.
You're reading that yourself too?
I'm reading that.
It's set in Audible. Oh yeah.
Yeah. And it's like I'll read a few pages and I'll be like, shoot, I gotta go reread that page because that didn't make any sense to me. And then I reread the page and I'm like, I'm really tired. And then I pick up the book the next day and I'm like, I gotta read this page again. And so I'm trying to digest it. And it's not super weighty. It's just not
he's
laying out concepts,
right? Yeah, he lays out concepts, and then sometimes he does build on. He tries to build the layers for you, but sometimes you're like, oh wait, I gotta go. What did you mean? Like, I get what you mean, but I don't like. He's talking about some really out there stuff, and so you're like, all right, I get it, but I don't like. Yeah, like, but
so I'm making my way through
just so
it.
you guys know. So
there is no now, and time isn't real. Diplomat season 3. So I don't know if either of you have watched The Diplomat at all on Netflix, but Carrie Russell, she is like the U.S. ambassador to England, and there's political turmoil and kind of it's actually a really well done show. Season 3 just released, so I watched a couple episodes while I was traveling last week. Just airplane episodes, and then I started a book. The author's name isn't Preston Child, it's Douglas Preston, and he writes with his editor and co-writer, I think, is Lincoln Child, and they write a bunch of like murder, crime, like books. I can't think of any of them they've written together, but he was originally a journalist, and he wrote this book called The Lost Tomb, and it's nonfiction, and it's an account of different mysteries, crimes, archaeological expeditions, things that he wrote for other magazines primarily, and he goes a little deeper. So like the first one is a story about a kid he grew up with who, when he was Googling, he later found ended up being murdered, and like hadn't talked to the guy in like 40 years. And he talks about how he wrote it for like Wired or one, The National or whatever magazine. And so it's like a collection of some of his writings that are about some of the mysteries and stories from like real history and news that influenced some of his books. And the foreword is written by David Gran, who wrote the book about The Wager, might even be the Wager, like the shipwreck book, and has written like some other kind of like this David Gran, maybe Lost City of Z or other like kind of those type of books. Wrote the foreword, and it's really interesting. It's pretty short. It's like 12 hours, 13 hours on Audible, and I'm an hour or two in, so I'm just kind of cracking the surface, but enjoying that. And it's going to kill me that I can't think of Douglas Preston and Lincoln Child's like book series, but there's stuff like Bone Collector, like something like where you'll know it when you see it. You're like, oh, okay, because a lot of them have been adapted in the movies. But yeah, so that's there.
Not to just stay on our Steven Erikson Malazan, but Ty, even though we're sprinting as fast as we can, we're still falling behind because Erikson just released yet another book this week tacking on to the end of. So we're in the end, we'll never be done at this point. Yeah. Because
he has another series too that he had started. So
yeah,
those are like side chapters, right? They're not the actual main story.
Right. It's like there's 10 in the main story, and then he's done at least like two or three book kind of side. I try not to do any spoilers at all, so I just know they exist. And then I think there's another guy, right? Another author who's actually also done a 3-book series in the Malazan universe in another. But I try not to know too. I just know they exist. I try not to know too much because I don't really want any spoilers until I get to that point. But
yeah, they're very good. I like Steven Erikson. Kind of want a TTRPG set in.
I know. Don't Malazan. How has nobody done it?
Yeah,
maybe I don't know. Does he not want a license?
I don't know. Protect the license.
Yeah,
I don't know. I wonder the same about options for film, like TV, like.
Yeah, I don't know how you that would be a tall. I don't know how unless you pick one. I mean, you could pick one. You could
do a series on the Bridge Burners, like
right. Yeah, or you could, and even then, just take like one chunk out of one book, and that would be like, because I don't. Yeah, I mean, we need a whole like
anthology series.
We need a book club discussion on because they're on Malazan, because I just think he's done so, like you talked about. I think he does such a good job of in these big events in the books, he sets the stakes. You don't realize it. Like he's like, there's a reason why he's right. And you're like, why are they keep doing this thing, or why is it? And he builds up to these. And I just feel like, not to, like Chain of Dogs and other, there's been sieges of cities and things like that. And there's nothing I can't compare it to anything else I've ever like read and so yeah, so cool. So all right, sorry, we're done gushing on Malazan.
Yeah, I mean, and when you finish a Malazan book, you feel like you need a break because they are 40 hours of length. Our banter section is over, so take your break, get a fresh beverage, and when we're back, we're going to talk a little Gamehole, Dragon Days, and Dragonfall recap before we head into kind of what's coming up this fall and what else is going on in show close. So we'll be right back. And we are back to talk about some mini con Dragon Days event recaps. So, Troy, I think we both were at Gamehole for differing amounts of time, but probably saw many of the same things. So I'll kind of start with some things I saw that were cool, and then let you add in some things you saw that were cool. But I will say again, Alex, Kammer, and the whole crew continue to make Gamehole just an excellent run show. Everything is smooth. Crowds, the vendor hall, everything gets attention. The gaming spaces, it's just well laid out, well planned, and well run for what is a growing con. I think attendance numbers were around 6,400 attendees, which is great. They expanded into kind of one of the side buildings for some extra gaming space. Sounds like there are some wrinkles there to smooth out, but overall, food trucks, the parking in the back with the back entrance worked out really well. But it was packed. Like it was even Thursday Friday, the artists and author appearances, getting bigger, like the back art row. I think, I continued every year to get the plushie, the Gamehole plushie. So this year was a kobold. So added that into the purchase. The GameholeCon dice every year, get a D6. So just the things there, and then seeing Elena and Matt is always a highlight, and then Barry is as well. So Gamehole has just become like a reunion and a fun time. But Milcog continues to do well, vendors continue to do well, and seeing friends. So a few things that were new to me or old to me, but hadn't had a chance to see that I'll talk about. So first was M.L. Wang, the author of Sword of Kaigen and Blood over Brighthaven. Her new book was there, which was really surprising to me. I don't know that they've been at Gamehole before, but I enjoyed Sword of Kaigen. I didn't think it was as good as all the hype, but I really did like the story, and I like the world. So I got a signed copy of the new one, Blood over Brighthaven, and just had a moment to say, hey, really enjoyed your work. Cool that you're here. Then the other author / game designer that I got a chance to chat with was Randall. Is it Hampton? The author of The Little Game Master, which is now a RPG geared towards young children. And he had the starter set, and I was listening as he was explaining kind of the world and the game to a dad of an 8-year-old, and the dad was saying, well, D&D is a little tough, I'm not sure. And he was talking about it, and I was just standing there patiently waiting. And then I said, in earshot, the guy was like, oh, I'm sorry, I know you're waiting. And I said, Randall, I just wanted to stop by. Years ago, 2018, when the book released, I bought it, read it with my son, who's now 14, and like it made D&D understandable, like in concepts and the idea of adventuring and partnering together. And I said, he's aged past, I think, kind of what you've got here, but I really love what you're doing. So I took his card, got like his Patreon information, and maybe be able to get him on the show to talk about, gaming with kids and gaming as a parent, and kind of, I think that could be really cool. And he seemed open to it, but I had a chance to meet him and actually like interact with him for a few minutes, which was a cool experience. And then I spent some time with Paul and Jen and Vlate. They had a really prime location, not in the vendor hall, but kind of out in the demo row, but away from the crowded kind of small like entryway, and more closer down towards like the gaming hall and some of the other stuff. And they were right on the end of the main aisle, and had a cool little game space where Paul is running games of Unknown Worlds all weekend. And they had some Little Demons cards on display. I don't know how the show went for them. It looked like they always had some people playing and some people, taking a look. But it was good to see them and catch up. So that was kind of what I saw at Gamehole. That was new to me, or interesting kind of industry appearances. I don't want to bring the energy down, but they did have, so Rob Weiland is a local Milwaukee kind of writer and RPG. He passed away the week before Gamehole, so there was an entire booth that was dedicated to some of the either friends of community members like Rob, with pictures of them, and it was just with chairs and like to hold space and kind of in memoriam. The other one that I was kind of like, oh man, is he goes by Cosmic Joe. I can't think of his name, but he runs PhoenixCon up in Appleton. He also passed away this year. So they had kind of each of their pictures and some stuff. Milcog also. So it added a little bit of a somber tone, but he'd always run kind of the celebrity GM games, and he's done a lot with like live actual play, like podcasts and stuff. So Rob was kind of a wrote for Milwaukee Record and others, but that was cool that Alex and Gamehole kind of set that booth space aside and dedicated it to some of the community members that had passed away.
Yeah, so my Gamehole was Saturday. Josh and I and my daughter Sarah talked her into coming along with us. Came over for kind of the day trip to hang out because, Ty, as you said, it's kind of a reunion in some ways. If we're not, last year we had run a bunch of games. This year we were a little lazier, and again, it's starting to. Not that it's too big, but you have to do a little prep if we're really gonna run games. We have to get a little serious about it around that. So we just went for the day, hung out. Again, it's great to see Paul and Jen, and they had, as you said, awesome spot. Hopefully they had a lot of traffic and got people in there. Walked around. I thought the vendor hall actually felt. I don't know, what was my word is more vendor hall-y. Like it, not that it hasn't been. It's been big and had some really good free press and. Or free league, free league has been there, and there's always been some bigger names there. But this year it really felt like, like a big game convention kind of hall, and there was still like a lot of times there's still like I'll call it the crafty kind of parts of that, but they had kind of put that on one side, and then the rest of it was really all like a bunch of game stuff. So it was fun to kind of do some shopping. I kind of showed you kind of the stuff that we did there. I do not have, again, they do have always have some really cool arts and crafts. Sarah got a mimic. She has this little, it's a dice box, and she was totally like, we went past it, and how you have to like, all right, I get it. We're going to walk around. If you still are excited about it by the time we get all the way through, we can get that. And so, so that's in her room right now, I think, full of dice or something right now. So really cool. It was made out of wood. She opens up, eats the stuff and whatever. So pretty cool. So lots of cool stuff. And there was a million little things like that you can get around, and stickers. What was again, like you said, I'm glad they did the parking, because it had gotten to the point where it was really hard to kind of park if you weren't there at 8 a.m. or whatever. So opened up the whole back with parking and stuff. We lucked out. I don't know, like the weather was amazing.
Beautiful weekend
for mid-October in Wisconsin. Everybody was in shorts, t-shirts. They have the food trucks outside again, which is awesome. Really, I keep hyping that up to people in anywhere in kind of southeastern Wisconsin. If they're gamers, then want to go out there. So I think that was about it. Again, I didn't do any, like I said, I didn't do any real events, and I think you hit all the highlights of good stuff that was there.
Brice, we got to get you to Gamehole.
Yeah,
I was planning on it. I was so frustrated that because I had literally a reminder on my phone set, and then you sent them a picture, and I was like, this can't be real. And I had the wrong weekend right on the calendar, but I really wanted to see Matt and Elena. I haven't seen them in such a long time, so I was planning, and me and calendars, man.
You were 2 weeks off?
It's a good time of year where there's not things that get in the way of it. Like, that's kind of, I don't know if I'll ever get to go to it again. And it's just a perfect time of year where I can sneak away, and it's not too far from here. It's actually as close as Milwaukee, so it's nice and easy to get to. So definitely next year I will at least make a one-day appearance.
We will await your presence. There are some cons local to you coming up, but Troy is going to share some visits to other conventions / events, because Dragon Day is not a con. It's a
no, it's not it's a celebration. Yeah. So I think I had talked about it last time that I was headed out there. So beginning of October, first weekend of October, the 2 events in Lake Geneva, which is, if you're not familiar, it's like 45 minutes, hour kind of southwest of Milwaukee, around there. There was Dragon Fall, which used to be in northern Illinois area, has moved to Lake Geneva the last 3. It's the 3rd year there now, I think, maybe. Started as very miniature heavy kind of, I think it was an AOS tournament to start with, and then just kind of kept growing. And so now they kind of, it's I think there's a 40K GT and a AOS GT. That's kind of still the pillars of that convention, but they've added some smaller games around it. As I talked about, a decent hobby track, where they bring in some at least some artists and do classes, and then just a smattering of a couple of vendors that are, I think Elric's was there, and I think what's GameStorm that's next to you, Ty? No,
Warp Storm.
Warp Storm, I think, because they run the 40K side, so they had kind of had.
Okay.
They were kind of they had like a little booth or something, I assume, because I think they have some stuff in the store there, right? Even though they mostly run games, they have a little bit of a retail thing. But I think it was. I don't know if Grodnars are there or not. I don't think so. They might have been. Maybe some combined with some of the Elric stuff. But again, really small around some of that. So again, stuff there. I think Mark. What's Mark's last name? Ramchek, I think, runs the AOS side. Ran into our friend Dan Bear, of course, was there helping him out for the weekend. So I got to talk to Dan a little bit, and kind of hung out, did the my hobby thing, and run around. So again, really fun. It's at the Grand Geneva, which is a kind of a cool older but very high end hotel. So I really like it. I think it's a cool venue. I was trying to if I could get my brother, somebody to do they have a 40K teams, like doubles event. I would maybe do that, just to kind of go and hang out. But at the same time, in downtown Lake Geneva on the Saturday and Sunday, there's what's again, I think it's the third year they've been doing this, is Dragon Days, which has been kind of the celebration of D&D and the history of D&D, as Lake Geneva was the birthplace of D&D and TSR and Gary Gygax and all that stuff. And the whole town, somehow they figured out that they can actually, there are geeks and we spend money, I guess, is what they figured out, right? So they have so in different areas throughout the downtown, they kind of have as destinations. They have a big outdoor, what do you want to call it, vendor type area. Ran into Matt's brother Nate, who does same. I have pictures at the bottom of our show notes for you guys. Maybe I'll put some pictures up for YouTube people of things in there. So Nate, who's been there, I know last year, and that, so they do kind of jewelry, armor kind of stuff. Really, really cool, really nice stuff around there.
Yeah, I was super impressed. I talked to him, Troy, at Gamehole a little bit. He does some smaller, like they go to Baraboo one, they do that one. He's not doing any big shows, but places where tables are either free or very low cost. But he's doing some commission, like chain. So he does like chainmail armor and scale mail, and he does all the links himself. It's all handcrafted, and so like he'll hand out his cards and kind of quote you. But I know he's got an Instagram set up, and it's cool just to see him kind of taking something. I remember he's been doing that for years, necklaces and chainmail, and it was something Matt used to do a little bit too. But to see the full like suits of chain and the dragon scale, like scale mail and stuff he's doing, and some of the jewelry pieces is really neat. So like it's definitely, if we can get a picture up, that'd be pretty cool.
Yep. Yeah, and I had to, like, Sarah, he did have like a thing of chainmail there, or scale mail. It was more like scale mail.
Yeah.
Right. And yeah, Sarah was like, ooh, and I'm like, I don't know if I can afford this. So you're like, don't get too excited about, maybe we'll figure that out. It's like, you come with a really good cosplay costume, maybe we'll invest, right? And so that, but
could always do like a Van Brace or something, right? Like
right. Yeah, we'll start out small and something, and some of that. So, but yeah, really cool stuff. And then, as I was talking about, we've been lucking out. So even that first weekend in October was even probably nicer than it was the 2 weeks later in Madison. And the vendor booths are on, basically we're set up along the lake. Lake Geneva is literally on a Lake Geneva. So like Nate's booth, I kind of sent a picture out to people. He was basically sitting on this park,
lakeside, on a walkway,
looking on this he's like the sidewalk, and then there's the water, and it was so gorgeous. I mean, it was on like 80 degrees for most of the day. So one of the best vendor areas I've ever been to, and you just walked around this park and think that. But again, as I talked about, they had lots of, the other place with like wood weapons and things like that. So you get there was some game, you get some gaming stuff. There was a lot of people with D&D and small booths of some of that, but you do get a lot of the wooden weapons and jewelry and arts stuff, and leather bound books and really, really cool craft stuff. There's some really cool that's in there. The other things that are there is the museum. There's a Lake Geneva Museum, and what they do is they have a whole section kind of dedicated to kind of early D&D, and they have all kind of old D&D TSR, especially all the TSR products that were there. They were really cool custom game table in there, kind of history. And it's also kind of a cool, I didn't realize that it has a cool museum. It has, if you've been to our Milwaukee museum, kind of that Streets of Milwaukee area, they actually have like a mini kind of version of that in this Lake Geneva museum, which is really cool. You don't expect it to walk into something that cool around some of that. So sorry for the inside baseball for people who have not been to Milwaukee Public Museum and know what I'm talking about. But if you have,
come soon, because
it's going to get
it's not going to be there very long.
Yeah, we're getting a new museum in 27, I don't know, but in the next year or whatever. So
yeah.
So the library has some stuff. They actually show the Lake Geneva Theater. Shows like D&D cartoons and D&D movies during the day. and you can. I got my bucket list item on Sunday morning. Sarah and I got up as we were headed out. My wife, she had her own car, and she's like, "I'm out of here," and we're like, "All right, we're gonna go." Because you can tour the old Gary Gygax home house that was there. So
you had your Ready Player One moment.
Yeah. So you can, and the people who own it are super nice, because I think they've turned it into like you can basically rent it out and
like an Airbnb type.
Airbnb kind of thing to do it. I mean, it is this tiny little old house. Like there's nothing like super special about it, right? It is it's I don't know how old is that, but it's cool. You go in, they actually have a little movie you watch that kind of gives you a lot of the background if you're not familiar with kind of Gary Gygax and D&D in details, and they go through a little bit of the house in early times. I got to sit at they have like the table there, and I have a picture of myself sitting in Gary's chair around that with some of that, and then you can and they have his office where he wrote a bunch of stuff there, which is cool. And then you get and then they have you can go into the basement, which is again, just the basement in a small little house. So it's like that. And they have a mock-up of kind of the sand table that was there back in the days and some of that stuff too. So it was a nice bucket list kind of item for me to kind of like to get to do the Gary Gygax house tour and sit in the chair and some of that stuff too. So it's been fun. Dragon Day. And then the other birthplace of Gen Con, Horticulture Hall in downtown Lake Geneva, where Gen Con 1 was. They have that open up, and they have they do a bunch of demo games there. There's a couple other vendors there, but you can kind of check out the space where the very first Gen Con was back in 67. I want to say something like that. 65, yeah, something like that. So kind of cool. And that's where, again, if you're picture there's Sarah with her sword and the dragon that I might flash up here where we're rocking around there. So that's kind of cool. Yeah, you can you walk around, kind of hit the high points, and do some shopping and see some and otherwise, and hang out in downtown Lake Geneva, which is also kind of a cool place to hang out and eat and drink.
Very cool. I just saw the one of you in Gary's GM chair, and I think we need that to be like our new Playin and Slayin like logo. Maybe we do where you animate over the real picture, and like that that style, and it can be Troy the GM, the Bodfather. Well, good deal. That's good. You've been around. It was a busy month.
And that's why I didn't play games. I haven't played any games in the last month because I went to these things, but I didn't actually play any games. But
it's all good. Now we just got to plan a weekender for the winter, and we can complete the world tour.
Didn't we plan one?
Well,
I think
it's a duel.
Okay. And Josh and Troy have refused to acknowledge the effort.
We haven't.
Yeah.
Just like Josh has forsaken us. So, Brice, you and I are going to get a big house on the shores of Lake Winnebago and just play Relic Blade all weekend.
There we go.
Relic Blade and Roth. And we'll recruit.
I'm already signed up, but sign me up again.
We'll recruit Raph. We'll get Raph and Tom to replace Josh and Troy, because those two will come up and play a Relic Blade weekend for sure. All right. Any other thoughts, Brice? It was excellent having you back. Before we get into the traditional show close, any thoughts from the basement, BOD North?
No, it's nice to be back and part of the family again. I've always been listening, but it's really weird to listen. Like we were talking, I think before we started recording, I heard the audio bits for the first time, and I was like, oh, okay, this is what we do. But no, it's good to be back, and I thank you guys for the time that you continued on without me, because it allowed me to still be part of it from listening. So here I am back in the chair, and maybe we'll have Raph on next time to fill Josh's spot.
We'll have four chairs, and then we're creeping up on 100. And if Josh doesn't come back for 100, I'm ending our lifelong friendship. That'll be
here. He's throwing the gauntlet down.
Yep. We'll give him plenty of advance warning, but episode 100, it needs to be all hosts on hand. Maybe an all guests, all hosts. We get like, Hollywood Squares.
10 minutes.
Yeah. We line up Brian Nero and Will and Paul and Jen and Elena. We just pull out all the stops.
Yeah.
Go back to like the early episodes. We'll get Brendan. Maybe we can even get Dan Bears.
Meth. He would take more than 10 minutes.
We'd have to play him off like with orchestra music, like an award show. Oh, all right. Well, that is going to bring us to where we talk about upcoming events, and most of the fall events are done and gone. So what remains here, if this gets out before next weekend, RockCon in Rockford, Illinois, November 7th through the 9th. Then New Game Con up in Oshkosh, or I can't remember. I think it's New Game is how they refer to it, but it's kind of the Milcog affiliated kind of board game event. That is also next weekend, November 7th through the 9th up in Oshkosh. So your neck of the woods, Brice. Then I don't think until we have Midwinter in January. That'll be going on. I think it's like the 10th through the 14th or 11th through the 15th in Pewaukee, so western suburbs of Milwaukee. But then there's the lull where we all just get kind of crazy with Adepticon prep. We're gonna definitely be talking about that in future episodes. The usual events are being run, but then BOD is offering a 1-day narrative event, two 1-day narrative events that we're adding to the list of available BOD Adepticon options. So more to come on that. But Adepticon will be back in Milwaukee, March 2026. I don't remember the exact weekend, but it lines up with Brice's wife's spring break and trip to Florida.
Unbelievable.
I think we just need to convince Anna that summer break vacations are way better than spring break.
Yeah.
And that first week of summer break could be the really great family trip.
I thought we did a great job of selling Milwaukee as a great
spring break destination.
I don't think Brice ever read any one sentence of what we wrote to her, but
I didn't let her read it yet. I'm still trying to find the right time for that. But
we'll make episode 97 the Dear Anna episode where we all personalize messages.
Or maybe we can we do like where we spam text her? She won't know. Like I'll just like, how you get spam text? Maybe that'll just start dropping how downtown Milwaukee is a great spring break destination.
We need is like TikTok or Instagram or anything like that. We just need to seed the algorithm with like visit Milwaukee content. Beautiful lakefront like shots. Yeah. We're on to something, Troy. We've got this. Well, if listeners, you have any advice on how we can convince somebody to come to Milwaukee for their spring break, let us know. And also, like and subscribe and do all that fun stuff on YouTube, reviews on iTunes. I don't think somebody's written a review in about 8 years. Can you even still write a review on like the Apple podcast?
I know it. You know what? I don't even know how to look for one. I should that. Yeah. So
we need to update our show notes template. But talk to us in the comments in YouTube. Hit us up. Find us at other stuff. And certainly go check out Goonhammer and the Media Network. And, if you become a Patreon subscriber at Goonhammer, you can listen to Raph and I talk once a month about campaign games on the campaign trail. That's pretty much the only place on the internet I am is podcasts now. I'm no longer really social mediating. But we still have info at Basement of Death, intern at basementofdeath.com, and then Troy, Ty, and I think even Josh, we let him keep the email. If you want to, send him some comments, let him know how much you miss hearing from him. All right. That brings us to the close of episode number 96. I did not find a Dallas Cowboy legend with number 96 for you, Ben. I do apologize. I will return with number 97 in the next episode. But for now, friends, keep the dice rolling, the drinks on ice, and no matter what, keep playing and slaying.